It is Batman. Not to be confused with Fat Man. It sounds like they're saying Fat Man. He's rather large. He eats too much. He goes back for second and thirds. He likes fudge, cookies, candy, sugar, pasta, cheese. It is Fat Man. Yeah, you right. Thank you very much, Mr. Drew Brees. I think it's pronounced Brees. Something about playing quarterback in the National Football League or something. I don't know. Saint. He's a saint. I guess he's a good guy. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday. Yeah, you right. A Monday afternoon. A little nippy out there, a little cold out there. Not too bad, though. Cool temperatures, kind of nice. What I'm guessing about, got to be like 60-ish outside, maybe about right now. That's my guess. Pretty nice outside, to say the least. 62. 79% humidity, which makes it feel a little colder. Yeah, it feels like 61 outside. The next few days, cold temperatures, 40s and 50s, 40s and 50s, low 60s for like the next week or so. Yeah, you right. A Monday afternoon, like I said, we got a good one lined up for you. Thanks for finding us. Oh, so fine. 93.9 FM. 93.9 FM. You can also check us out at 107.9 FM. New Orleans own 107.9 FM. My buddy sent me a photo from Baton Rouge, 600 AM, checking us out in the capital city from his car on 600 AM. Yeah, I'm not kidding. From Baton Rouge, through New Orleans, through the North Shore, the I-12 corridor, southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, even into the panhandle of Florida, 600 AM. Yeah, you right. Talk radio is our bread and butter. That's where we came from, but it's expanded so much. About 15 years ago, 12, 15 years ago, we added the television element, a live simulcast on TV of our talk radio show. We plopped a television camera in here, Cox Channel 4 all over Louisiana, Spectrum Channel 333 television all over Louisiana. We're also on YouTube last few months doing that YouTube thing. Check us out live streaming on YouTube. Check out the TV show on YouTube, essentially. Podcast after the fact. CoreyTalks.com. Speaking of live streaming, our website, CoreyTalks.com. You can email us too, Corey, Kaare, Corey at CoreyTalks.com. LBJ, no, not the president, Lebron Joseph, longtime New Orleanian, longtime DJ, QUE, YLD, old school 1029 back in the day. He's been a TV news anchor at Channel 26 for about a decade plus now. About 40 years or so in the biz. LBJ is going to join us. Just a cool New Orleans cat. Talk about a bunch of good stuff. About 10 minutes away. In the 5 o'clock power hour, Brett Martel will join us. It is a Martel Monday. Find out what's going on with the Louisiana State University and Agricultural and Mechanical College football Tigers. What's going on up in BR, plus the Tulane Green Wave, plus your New Orleans Saints and New Orleans Pelicans. Brett Martel, Martel Monday, coming up in the 5 o'clock power hour. Hey, this 4 o'clock hour brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex. And now Lamarck Crescent City Ford in Elmwood. Are you kidding me? Legendary Crescent City Ford on Jefferson Highway for decades. That's a good trivia question, actually. Where was the original Crescent City Ford? This location that Ronnie purchased in Elmwood, Harahan, Jefferson Highway, right before Hickory. I guess they've been there about 15 years or so, I'm guessing, 20 years. But for a long, long time, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, probably going back to like the 20s, 30s, 40s. Crescent City Ford, the truck dealership. They specialize exclusively in trucks. Now, what works great for Ronnie Lamarck from Araby Park, Ford's lineup, most cars, manufacturers, hard to find a car today. Easy to find an SUV, easy to find a truck. Ford, I believe the Mustang, pretty much their only car left. You want a Mustang? You go to the big store, Lamarck Ford in Kennebra, and then everything else, every SUV, every truck that's available at the big store, available at Lamarck Crescent City Ford. Essentially, it is a full-blown Ford dealership, not just trucks. 95% of what Ford sells now are SUVs and trucks, but full-blown service, state-of-the-art, great sales staff, folks ready to take care of you. Yeah, by the river in Elmwood, Crescent City Ford, and by the lake in Kennebra, the Lamarck Automotive Complex. Yeah, Ronnie Lamarck from Araby Park, not messing around. Every day, this program brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex. And now, Lamarck Crescent City Ford, the 4 o'clock hour. We're double dipping, brought to you by both today as well. LBJ, Lebron, Joseph in a few minutes. Brett Martel, 5 o'clock powwow. Senator John Kennedy, we'll have to get him on the show soon. Fresh off of a dominating win in the U.S. Senate race, has publicly said he's thinking about running for Louisiana governor, giving serious consideration to entering the governor's race. I'll be announcing my decision soon. Bill Cassidy, Billy Nungesser, a couple of Republicans that are expected to be in the race. I shouldn't say Cassidy expected. Nungesser unofficially announcing he's running. Cassidy might. Luke Mixon, Democrats need somebody that's viable. He's kind of a blue dog Democrat cut out of the John Bell Edwards cloth, a military guy, Air Force fighter pilot. The guy's legit. No, but the dopey Democrats in Louisiana endorse Gary Chambers, someone that cannot win the Senate race. Impossible. Against John Kennedy. Impossible. Luke Mixon's like a 1 in 10, and they don't endorse him. But, the Republicans have their own problems. They endorse Jeff Landry, and they don't even know what the complete field looks like. Just why the, rush to endorse Landry. No, Republicans are mad in Louisiana. A splintered party here, inside gimmick. Jeff Landry's all about gimmicks and scams. Not a legitimate bone in his body. He just doesn't think that way. He thinks like Edwin Edwards, like Bill Jefferson, like John Alario. What can I do for myself, my friends, my family? How can I set up friends instead of civic-minded? And, hey, it's about me sacrificing, and it's for the citizens. Yeah, a lot of you laugh because you're so into the former, not the latter. You're so in it. Of course, that's just how it is. The Bill Jeffersons, the John Alarios, the Edwin Edwards, they take care of themselves. We just hope something good happens. I don't accept that. I don't accept that second-rate attitude. No, they're supposed to be civic-minded and sacrifice. You can say that's silly, that's naive. That's how it's supposed to be. Quit accepting the Alarios and those types, the Bill Jeffersons. Now, I love the old quote from John Wooden about, when you win, don't take, don't let your head get too high. Take all the credit when you lose. Don't get too low and don't take all the credit for the loss. It's about balance. These politicians in Louisiana, they walk around, people come up and, want to shake their hand. Oh my gosh, I'm meeting so-and-so. And then the politician walks off and they say, what a jerk that guy is, what a loser, I'd never vote for him, blah, blah, blah. The politicians are like children though. Even the Alario 70-something thinks he's beloved by the population. I don't know. I like saying it this way. Hey, Louisiana politicians, be humble and be quiet, even if you're good and effective. You work at the Hugo plant. You work at the Hugo plant. You're producing that vehicle. That's your track record. Fausto's Italian Bistro. I'm a creature of habit. Picked up my red beans and rice. Ate red beans and rice there today. Little paneed chicken breast. They're opening for dinner at 5 o'clock. Some of the city's best Sicilian and Italian. Fausto's Italian Bistro. LBJ is next.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Interlocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Interlocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Interlocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
For home surveillance, it's Tommy's Lock and Alarms. With high-definition night vision surveillance systems, letting you see what's going on. Home surveillance that's smart, safe, secure. Tommy's Lock and Alarms. Google them.
When you think of Fury's restaurant in Metairie, you think about fresh local fish like flounder, snapper, and speckled trout, fried, broiled, or grilled. Fury's restaurant in Metairie.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com. Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, the premier day spa experience, now with 4 area locations. Canal at Carrollton, on the North Shore and Slidell, in Baton Rouge by the Mall of Louisiana, and now in Metairie, West Esplanade at Transcontinental. The Woodhouse Day Spa.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anyway. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, no cool spots. NolaAC.com, no cool spots.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
Hey, Marigny, Bywater, Treme, French Quarter, CBD, Warehouse District, Garden District, Irish Channel. It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground, where New Orleans is heard.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you on a Monday. A little cool and crisp out there. Going to be cold now. That kind of summer and November thing we had going for a while, I think, is gone. Colder weather. Is that good or bad for fishing? Time for the Fish and Game Report. LBJ joins us from the boat out on the lake with the cigar in his mouth.
Yeah, I wish I was on the boat out on the lake.
I bet you are. Every time you post it, you're very happy.
Yeah, that's my happy place, man. That's my happy place with a cigar. And if the fish are biting, I'm ecstatic. But I took off a couple of days this week because it's my birthday, and I'm supposed to fish, but I think the wind is going to be a little too much for us. So I don't know.
Does cold weather help or hurt?
Well, you've got a couple of good seasons here for fishing, saltwater fishing in Southeast Louisiana. And basically, your good seasons are spring and or early summer and the fall or late fall, winter. So sometimes that is a little bit of cool weather. But, you know, the fish are moving inside, and that means it's time for them to bite. And so they're following the bait, and, hey, we're following them, you know?
That's the Fish and Game Report. That's LBJ. Brought to you by Jimmy's Speed Shop in Kenner. If you have an old Trans Am or Z28, they'll take care of it. Jack it all up in the back, and you can really go fast. Nitrous kits and everything. It's Jimmy's Speed Shop in Kenner.
So you're the hardest working man in radio. You know that, right?
Well, I think while Wayne might disagree, huh?
Well, first of all, Corey and I go back many years in radio, and it's an honor to know you, brother, and that you're still doing your thing, you know.
Right back at you. I want to say I got into it in Baton Rouge right out of LSU, so like 92 for me, and then late 91, and then 92 I pop up at Sports 1280 in the Tidewater building.
Yeah.
And our boss was Ken Wente, was his name.
Yeah.
And I think Clear Channel Communications, which is now iHeart or whatever they are.
That is my current weekend employer.
Yeah, and they were, you know, Oklahoma City, San Antonio based. I want to say QUE and YLD was like 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th acquisition towards like 1,000 plus, right?
That is correct. We were one of the early acquisitions for Lowry Mays, and truth be told, it's actually to this day one of the higher rated combos of two stations in the country. If I'm not mistaken.
Oh, QUE has been number one I don't know another station that's ever been number one in New Orleans. Seriously. And YLD's 2 or 3 at the worst. They're usually 2.
Yeah.
They're usually a solid 2. Those are the only stations that like pull double digit, you know,
12 and 13.
Yeah. It's crazy the numbers they pull.
Yeah. So, I mean, and truth be told, Corey, you know, it's interesting because another thing that kind of helps it to be that, and this is getting in the weeds a little bit for your listeners, the rating system for radio changed a few years back. You mentioned what's called the PPM system. We never got there, believe it or not. We are still being rated in the same way that they rated old stations.
Well, we still use the Victrola. You crank that thing up, the big horn. That's how we still listen, Victrola.
We were supposed to get PPM the year of Katrina, and it never changed. And I don't think the iHeart folks are complaining, considering their ratings are still through the roof.
Well, I think if you got it, if anything, they're going to go up. There's so many people that listen to QUE and YLD. It's just, I don't know how you know.
Yeah, it's big stations. It's big stations.
NOE sort of the, you know, they're locked and loaded. It's hard to stop that station. They're going to be 3 or 4 by default.
Right.
You know, it's kind of hard to, you know.
RNO has kind of come along. It's done some good stuff here and there. They're the home of the Pelicans again now.
Well, it's funny, LBJ. If I own 3 FM stations, I don't really listen to Q93. That's seriously, I don't. I don't like conservative talk radio. I'm just not into that. And I don't like country music. Like old, I don't mind, but I don't like new. If I own 3 FM radio stations, I'd put R&B, conservative talk, and country music on those 3 FM stations.
Yeah, apparently those do really well.
Yeah, those are the money makers.
I've been keeping up with you on Twitter. There's a whole lot going on in the city. First of all, I'm going to ask you, do you think Sean Payton's coming back, Corey?
No, I don't think Sean Payton's coming back at all. I think you know that take I got. I think Sean Payton, everybody thinks the football thing, that's why I left. First off, you can't have collusion, LBJ, unless another side's participating. So when the Dolphins get popped for the Brady-Payton thing, Payton's agent's talking to the Dolphins. So that's during the season while he's Saints coach. So he's not like, hey, I'm Saints coach. Don't even waste the time talking to the Dolphins. There's sort of at least an indirect deal going on there. And then just I need a break. And by the way, I'm ready to coach again. That usually doesn't work in the same sentence.
Right. I personally believe the guy needed a different thing in his life. He's at a different place. I don't know Coach Payton beyond shaking his hand a few times and meeting him. Always pleasant man, intense about his coaching. But, he just got married. He just appears to be in a different place in his life. It's a different challenge.
I think that is a very professional LBJ, totally truthful fact, I think a good opinion based right there. I think you're right on the money.
Yeah. And the thing is we have nothing. Well, I have nothing but gratitude to the guy.
Yep. No, I wish he was still the coach. I wish he never left. But, I think, no, I don't think I think that's like as crazy as Taysom Hill is starting quarterback talk, Yeah. I don't know which one's crazier. That was a good one. That was a hoot for a while, LBJ. Only one of the hardest things to play in all of sports. There's maybe 20 of them. The NFL doesn't even have enough for every team they have, Yeah. And Taysom Hill's going to come start and play 4 quarters, 17 games. I mean, insane.
Well, I think they had to give him an opportunity.
Of course.
And I think it's also one of the things I appreciate about Payton is he kind of took care of his folks on the way out the door. He got Taysom signed to a pretty good deal. Taysom has been a loyal soldier. He could have been looking elsewhere all the while, but he wasn't. And so, he got him signed a pretty good deal and probably told him, hey, well, we'll at least give you an opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love when he plays it, but I think soldier's the best. He's not a general. He's a soldier. Tight end, running back, wide out. Hell, you could play him at safety. The guy's just an athlete. He's fast. He's quick. He's smart. He gets the game. He's instinctive. But, he's the Swiss Army knife, I think. Hey, LBJ, let's flip gears to you. First off, the old New Orleans question, where'd you go to high school? You're a Catholic leaguer, right?
I'm a St. Aug guy.
Yep, London Avenue.
Yeah, London Avenue. And, we got a new team in the league this year, a couple new teams in the Catholic League. Ed and Kaare, and they're kicking butt.
Oh, yeah. Well, Kaare and Curtis, it was like, guys, stick with the teams you got. You don't need to add Kaare and Curtis.
We're making it a little more challenging for everybody.
Yep. Yep. No doubt. Very, very challenging. All right. So LBJ, after St. Aug, what was next? You got into radio right away? You were already in radio? How did this all get going?
No. I wanted to, I was in the band at St. Aug and then decided I had been playing music since junior high, at Bell Junior High. We used to have in this town, school bands from elementary, junior high, and all that. And I was in the band at Bell Junior High. Bell was one of the better middle school marching bands, junior high marching bands. You had Bell, you had Woodson. You had several good ones. And there were some pretty good instructors at some of those schools. When I went to Bell, I think...
Where was Bell located?
On Ursuline Avenue in Tremay, right at Ursuline and Galvez, or Ursuline between.
Okay,
Galvez
yeah, no, yeah, I know yep, all right. Yep.
It's currently now the Bell Art Space Apartments, but that Andrew J. Bell, there was a guy by the name of Donald Richardson who was a prolific band director. He really was very good. The junior high band competed with high schools and all that. We were really, really good. And
wow.
It became a feeder school. The junior highs were really feeder schools for all of these awesome bands we had in high school. And I'm not just talking about St. Aug, but even some of the public school bands were really good. Forshea and John McDonogh and McDonogh 35. And the junior high schools basically were the feeder programs for those bands. And, you know, when you think about high school bands elsewhere, you're thinking about, oh, okay, well, you know, they play at the football games and that's that. But anybody who lives here knows that not only is the football time a season for the band, but also Mardi Gras.
Yep.
And then also the symphonic band, concert band in the spring. And so these programs were year round. They were very, very good. I was blessed to be a part of that. My brothers as well. We all go to St. Aug, play in the band there.
What instrument did you play?
I played baritone, horn, and trombone in the jazz ensemble.
Nice.
And was pretty good, had a really good time. But I was also in school with people like Terrence Blanchard, and around that same time, Winton, and then we're at Noka and all that. And Renee Peters, and some of the other guys I was in school with, Thomas Lovitz, who I knew most of them went on to become professional musicians. I didn't love it that way. I loved playing music, but it wasn't that type of passion for me, even though I was section leader and all that. I just knew for the rest of my life it's not something I wanted to do, but I did like music.
Yep.
And sort of looked around, decided I wanted to study communications at Loyola, went to Loyola, out of St. Aug. Freshman year, started on the campus radio station, WLDC, which
all right, hold that thought right now, because we're going to take what they call a radio commercial break.
There you go.
I think you're familiar with those. LBJ's with us.
Kanye West was seen shopping at Super Discount Store in Chalmette.
I am Shakespeare in the flesh. Walt Disney, Nike, Google.
Okay, I think Kanye was talking about something else entirely. Super Discount Store on Paris Road in Chalmette.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Tommy's Lock and Alarms is now hiring service and installation technicians. Great benefits, great pay, take-home vehicle. Apply today. Tommy'sLockandAlarms.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSAgency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSAgency.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Come to Fausto's Italian Bistro. Age-old Italian recipes like the calamari fritti or spaghetti and meatballs. Lunch Monday to Friday, dinner Monday to Saturday. 530 Vets a block before Dorignax. Fausto's Italian Bistro.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
Enjoy outdoor dining on the streetcar line, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, the finest in Middle Eastern cuisine, Carrollton at Jeanette, Lebanon's Cafe.
New Orleans talk giant Corey Johnson on the neutral ground.
I'll have the entire city of New Orleans in the palm of my hand.
Every weekday afternoon on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333 from 4 p.m. to 5:30.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. New Orleans' own LBJ. No, not the president. LeBron Joseph joins us on the program from the 70122, as we used to say about 30 years ago. I'm closing in on 30 in this. You're getting like in between like 35 and 40, right?
Actually, 42.
I was right on my tweet. You're old.
Yeah. You were absolutely right, bro. I feel it some days.
Hey, Coast Guard, be careful when that guy's boating. Is he too old to be boating by himself or with his children? Maybe he needs somebody to help.
I would give me an AARP flag, stick it on the boat.
Exactly.
You know what's up.
I see that on the golf course. They got the little flag and they go closer to the green and stuff. Wow. Hey, LB, before we get back into the Loyola and radio and all that good stuff, 62 years ago today, Ruby Bridges, and I don't know, everybody talks about Ruby Bridges. It's like, what about Tate, Etienne, and Prevost?
Yeah.
You know, the McDonogh trio that were doing it at the exact same time. And then besides that, how about, I'm not trying to dismiss any of these people at all, but Ruby Bridges at 6, LBJ, had no idea what was going on. Lucille Bridges at 26, her mother, knew exactly what was going on and risked everything. Two things. How do we not have anything named after Ruby Bridges in New Orleans? It's mind-blowing. And then Lucille Bridges doesn't even get recognized at all, and I think is the bigger mover and shaker than little Ruby. Ruby's like the symbol, and Lucille Bridges is everything behind it.
Yeah, man.
I'm right or wrong?
Okay. Right on all the counts. I do know that we spoke with Lucille Bridges a few years back. Within the last 7 or 8 years during Black History Month, we did a feature because it was she was willing to talk to us, but Ruby wasn't, and it wasn't any animosity or anything like that with Ruby. I just think it was a scheduling thing, and she wasn't here. And
she's hard to get in touch with, Ruby, sometimes.
Yeah, but we did manage to do a piece with Lucille Bridges, Chris Leach, and I.
Who never left New Orleans, right?
Right. Really sweet lady.
Yep.
And talked about it, and also talked about the feelings that she still to this day had about what you just mentioned. You know, she knew what was going on.
Yep.
And all. And no, we don't have anything named after her. There are a couple of small things here and there, and if I'm not mistaken, it might be something on France School right over there.
I mean, I think, LBJ, you have like some Oregon school in Oregon named after Ruby Bridges. California has some park or something named after Ruby Bridges. But Nothing here. It's just and Lucille Bridges, by the way, passed away maybe 15 months ago, a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it's been fairly recently.
Yeah,
You're absolutely
it's
right.
Great, you guys got to do that story.
Right, but the other three women you mentioned, there is a center named after them.
Yep.
Funny that they formed a nonprofit, have been doing great work in the Lower Ninth Ward, bought the school that they integrated.
I think that's Gail Etienne who's heading all that up, right?
Ms. Etienne, but also
Prevost Tate's involved too.
Yeah,
one of them.
Yeah, definitely. Leona Tate has the Leona Tate Foundation, and what she did was also form the TEP Center down there.
Yep.
And that's Tate, Etienne, and Prevost, which is a beautiful thing they've done, and it's almost like a hub for services in the Lower Ninth Ward.
Yeah.
And, that school now, there's housing as a part of it. She said initially she didn't want to even look at putting housing and apartments in there, but the more she thought about it and thought that would be a source of revenue for the building and for them to continue to do the work and all of that. So beautiful stuff down there, though. 1,000 stories in this town, man, I tell you.
Yeah, gazillion stories. That's like, we're blessed. I mean, you're a little older than me, but not too much. We're blessed where we got the old school and the new school. We got to experience both.
That's exactly right. And Corey, I think at the end of the day, we're blessed in that our careers have enabled us to tell the stories of the place that we love. And we were talking earlier about my career and starting at Loyola and all that other stuff. And by the second semester of my freshman year, a guy by the name of Brett Bailey was program director of YLDFM, and he was teaching folks in the community radio. And he said he had a little class on the weekends, and someone had told me about, and he said, in a small class, 5 or 6 people on Saturdays, he says, I can't promise to hire any of you, but if in fact you want to learn this, I can teach you how to do radio, and I can teach you how to do, production, and teach you how to use your voice and things like that, which was a tremendous gift.
Yep.
And I ironically did, in fact, get hired by Brute within a month or two. And so that was the freshman year at Loyola. That would have been the spring of '81. And so from then on, I have worked commercially in radio in some capacity or another. Several years as 18 or so years as a program director of a couple of stations, YLD and then KMEZ. Over some of the Baton Rouge stations in that cluster with Citadel and stuff, and eventually moving to do more television, certainly with the advent of News with a Twist with John Cruz. You certainly worked on that show a whole lot as well.
Yep.
And in shifting gears, several years ago, Nexstar decided that they wanted to be more of a news product. They always were. And when they bought WGNO, they knew that we had Twist. They knew that Twist was profitable. It wasn't something they were willing to mess with initially. But with the launch of their national news thing, News Nation, and the pandemic and Hurricane Ida, they thought it was time to sort of pull the trigger. And for me, I was asked to stay on and cover our local stuff, the Moving New Orleans Forward brand, which is what, in my mind, I've always done on radio.
Not me. Nexstar said, we don't do editorials. I'm sorry. And then you remember I torched the newsroom and I flipped over all the furniture. There were ambulances in the fire department. I got arrested, 6 months in the clink. But, I got even with Nexstar, didn't I? You were there. You saw what I did. Death and destruction.
You landed on your feet, though,
Yeah, no, I'm totally joking. I get I didn't, hey, thanks for the experience, but it was, probably did about 750 editorials. So it was fun and did some anchoring, and thank goodness for Susie Rosegen carrying me along. No, Corey, that camera, read the line, all this behind the scene poking me over there. You're next, saved me, made it like where people were like, wow, Corey sort of knows what he's doing. It's like, get Susie out of here and watch Corey crash and burn.
No, man, you were great. You were absolutely great. It was always fun. And, it was in many ways an historic broadcast for a lot of the stuff that happened, a lot of the stuff we did. You mentioned all those editorials. Corey, we also on the Twist stage shot close to 400 performances
Gotta
over
be.
all those years.
Gotta be. Exactly. Well, you turned it in your own TV show.
That is correct.
You had so
which
much of the
became
performances.
playlist.
No, and then I mean the pothole thing's brilliant, I think.
Yeah, because everybody's got them.
Come on, they're everywhere. It's like why did it take Twist to come up with that? You know, it's like that's been missing for years. That was great.
Yeah. I'm thrilled about the performances. I wish we were shooting more. We haven't shot any since before the pandemic. When Nexstar bought us, they did keep the Twist set and the Twist stage intact, and also relit it with LED lighting. So truth be told, it's in better shape now than it's ever been.
Nice.
It's wired for live performance and everything. We just haven't done any trying to fit it all around. One of the things that Nexstar is also high on is specialty programming, election programming, all the different things. Some of that is really cool, the Black History Month stuff, the this, that, you name it, we've got specialty programs working on veteran specials that we just aired, so a lot of that takes up the time that would have been put toward possibly band performances or whatever. I've been asked about it a whole lot, and I hope that we get back to it because, again, I don't think it's ever been done before, to be honest, in the history of New Orleans television. Don't get me wrong, there were bands performing on TV.
Of course. No, not like that.
In the 50s, but not like that. And not, to be shot in such a way. And, Jeff Kent with his brilliant camera work and, just that variety of performances that really highlighted culturally, musically, what we did, everything from brass bands to Cajun to classical to whatever. So, I look forward to, hopefully we get back to it,
LBJ is with us, LeBron Joseph, New Orleans own. So you're like, 18, 19, you're a full-time Loyola student, you're in communications, you got a gig, getting a nice little, I shouldn't say nice maybe, but you're getting a paycheck.
Getting a little scratch.
From WYLD, exactly, take dates out and all that kind of stuff. What shift did you get? I'm guessing Saturday night at like 10 p.m.?
Actually, overnights. So like midnight to 6 or something like that. That was the first couple of.
Who cares? You're 18, 19. You're loving it.
On the radio, dude.
You're going down there at midnight, fired up. The dude who's 60 that's doing that shift is depressed about it. No, you're loving it. So, and then where'd you move from that, LBJ?
Dude, I stayed with him back and forth. I bounced around doing overnights and weekends and all that stuff. And then I think Brute left. And within like 2 or 3 years, they pretty much eliminated everybody. And then I worked for a station in Baton Rouge.
Welcome to radio.
Welcome to radio. I worked for a station in Baton Rouge, WXOK, which is...
hang on. I'm getting 10 seconds sign. Hang on, LBJ.
Go for it.
Yep, sure. I've carried out the cardboard box and I've replaced the person. Radio's tough.
Rouse's Markets means convenience. Every one of our 65 locations opens at 7 a.m., some at 6:30, and they're open until 10 p.m., with some staying open till 11 or even midnight. Convenience. Rouse's Markets. Tastes like home.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
If you love Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City, you're going to love Bienvenue in Harahan. The same folks bringing a little of that New Orleans flavor to Hickory Avenue. If you love Katie's, come to Bienvenue on Hickory Avenue in Harahan.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
For over 30 years, one of the premier security companies in New Orleans and South Louisiana has been Tommy's Lock and Alarms. And right now, Tommy's Lock and Alarms is hiring. Come and work for one of the best security companies in the region with great pay, great benefits, and a take-home vehicle. Tommy's Lock and Alarms is hiring, and they're looking for you. To apply for one of these coveted positions, go online to tommyslockandalarms.com. Tommy's Lock and Alarms.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Have a painting project but can't decide on the perfect color? At Helm Paint and Decorating, we offer half-pint paint samples in any Benjamin Moore color for under $5, so you can test potential paint colors before investing in a full gallon.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarck team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamarck Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
The city's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa with 4 area locations: New Orleans, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and Metairie. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. NOLA.woodhousespas.com.
Recently, Kim Kardashian was seen at Super Discount Store in Chalmette.
Let's party.
Can you think of any other celebrities that won't sue us? Super Discount Store in Chalmette. The lowest prices allowed by Louisiana law on wine, alcohol, and cold beer. 3235 Paris Road.
Which Metro New Orleans area restaurant made CNN's top 50 in America and ThrillList.com's top 25 and has served presidents at the White House for over 40 years? Trey Yen in Mandeville.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground. Roll call. Arabi, Chalmette, Violet, Lafitte, New Orleans East, Slidell, Mandeville, Covington, Hammond, Homa, Thibodaux. We got you covered.
Fury's Restaurant in Metarie's got you covered, and they're open till 9 p.m. That's nice. You can roll in there like 8:15, 8:30, no problem. Start with gumbo or turtle soup. Best onion rings anywhere, old school. I think kind of a lost art. And then all they serve is local fresh seafood. Nothing frozen, nothing from out of state. All fresh, all local. No one else does that anymore. Flounder, snapper, speckled trout. Fury's Restaurant in Metairie, or LBJ will catch it for you.
Yes, indeed. Hey, so what restaurant is that? Because I want to go if they got it like that.
Fury's in Metairie, right by the at Baskin Robbins behind what used to be the Shoney's.
Yeah.
Yeah. I worked at that Baskin Robbins 40 years ago, LBJ. I did not like it.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Well, it wrecked my Friday and Saturday night. I was trying to hook up with the ladies, and you're 15 and 16. I'm scooping ice cream. It just didn't jive. Anyway, yeah, it's right across the street. So like 50 yards off Vets. You'll love it. Fury's is great.
Fury's. I'm going to check it out.
Yep. So XOK, which is like the BOK of Baton Rouge, that was like your first start out of college after the YLD thing?
Yeah, I was only up there for about a year or so. But, another thing that I started doing while I was at YLD was DJing in clubs. And I worked clubs for many years and worked some of the bigger clubs in New Orleans, eventually working at Nexus. Nexus.
And that's literally going up in the booth with the glass, with the turntable, and you got 2 turntables, and you're doing Sir Mix-a-Lot. You're just playing song to song. You're being a disc jockey live.
A disc jockey live, yeah. And played the Nexus Secrets, the Whispers eventually, and all of that stuff. So worked a number of clubs for about 10 or 15 years. but still bouncing sort of back in the radio back. I was back at YLD years later under Del Spencer as PD and stuff. And then in 1990, I was hired on that Q staff, and this is post Walton and Johnson Q93. This is when it was back to being an urban station, I think it was their first attempt at really just being a straight urban station.
Yep.
I think we were about in 7th or 8th place or something like that. They had fallen pretty far. And Derek Monet hired me along with Karen Cortello, a whole staff of beautiful folks. CJ and
Karen
Monica.
Cortello was such a sweet girl, huh?
Oh, my God. She was just outstanding.
What a pro.
Just a pro and a beautiful girl and everything. But that core group, Janet Gilmer, eventually Davey D, Jam and J. Michaels.
I would have loved the black outsider seeing Cortello and going, what's this white girl doing with QUE and YLD? And then about a day later going, okay, I get why this white girl's with QUE and YLD. She just, she overrode race, color, sex.
Yes.
None of that mattered.
Yeah, she was a brilliant music director who had relationships across the industry. And certainly back then, our hip hop community, even the local hip hop community, was a big brand. I mean, you're talking the launch of the, Cash Moneys and Master P's and all of that kind of stuff. It predated even all that stuff, and so Q eventually did become the number one station again. We became number one again, and not long after, YLD, AM and FM went into bankruptcy. iHeart or Clear Channel acquired those stations as well. And I was applied for the program director job on WYLD FM in 95. And so from that point on, up until about, I'd say 6 years ago, I was a program director. And in addition to everything else that I did, mornings on, Old School with Kelder and stuff for, 13 years or so. So I've had a dream gig in my hometown. Corey, one of the things that you talked about us seeing the old school and the new school. The interesting thing is radio of old, you had to travel to different cities to stay working.
Yep.
And one of the things that happened since consolidation came about, for good or bad, quite frankly, is that these companies preferred, for many reasons, most likely because it was cheaper, to hire talent that's already in the market.
Radio is a hire from within. My whole. Rarely was it outsiders brought in. It still was for the big FM morning shows and afternoon drive. But then even those with the syndicated, hey, we'll have one show and do 20 markets. That kind of eliminated that.
Correct.
Hey, LBJ, you and I, we hopped around a bunch of stations. I mean, I'm assuming that A.D. Barry, Wild Wayne, Uptown Angela, they're like the longest running at one place, maybe
one place. Yeah.
I mean, maybe in the history of the medium, they've been at it for 30 plus years at the same spot,
same station, and the same big stations winning.
Yep. No. Why would you move them?
Yeah. That's exactly right.
Why would you move them? And now Uptown Angela runs the whole shooting match over there. From what I understand,
runs the whole shooting match. AD and I worked together. We were on. Nexus was such a big nightclub, it had a staff of DJs. AD and I were on the staff of DJs at Nexus, and that's how far back we go. In fact, even further than that. But
AD Barry's still the coolest human being in New Orleans.
Yeah, he really is. He really is. It's been a joy talking to you, Corey. I got a jet, but dude.
What are you pulling, a Fletcher Mackle on me? I got to go do my real job gimmick?
Yeah, no, the wife is calling.
Oh, okay.
So yes, that is my real job, by the way, the wife and the kid.
Yep, it was either anchoring or the wife. I was warm.
Hey, man, I love you, brother. And you can always get me. You know that. Hey, I got to come back because we got to talk about all this crapola in the city. You know what I'm saying?
No, I did. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it again soon. So, I'd love to.
Yeah, man, because it's so much foolishness going on, and I don't know what the end game is going to be.
No Latoya.org. You never know. You never know.
There are some folks that are upset.
Yep.
But, I hear just as many folks are saying, you know what? I just want it to get over with.
No, exactly. No, and it's coming to a head. LBJ, a pleasure. Thank you.
Love you, brother.
Yeah, you're right. We'll do it again soon. I'm going to do it again soon and talk politics. That'll be great. 93.9 FM, 107.9 FM, New Orleans.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home. Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Where can you find shish kebab in New Orleans? Lamb, beef, chicken, shrimp, plus all your other Mediterranean favorites. Lebanon's Cafe on the streetcar line. Lunch, dinner, and shish kebab. Lebanon's Cafe.
If you are a loved one or suffering from addiction, listen to Springfield Wellness Center's founder, Paula Norris Metier.
I feel personally, when I walk around on the grounds, that it's sacred ground. It's healing. Just the environment is healing. Just being here makes one feel like that, I can let go. I can let go of the worry. I can let go of the stress that I've been carrying around for a long time. We don't shame anybody. We don't blame anybody. We don't judge anyone. Just that alone really is the foundation on which everything else that we do is done.
Put your addiction behind you. Call Springfield Wellness Center, 504-291-4000.
Just call us. That's all. And we'll be waiting for you.
504-291-4000. 291-4000. Springfield Wellness Center. SpringfieldWellnessCenter.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, the premier day spa experience, is now more convenient than ever. Now open, the Woodhouse Day Spa, Metairie location, West Esplanade at Transcontinental. Metairie and Kenner's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa.
When you think of Fury's Restaurant in Metairie, you think about their daily lunch specials like red beans and rice, black-eyed peas, white butter beans, liver and onions. Daily lunch specials. Fury's Restaurant in Metairie.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
For home surveillance, it's Tommy's Lock and Alarm. With smart home technology, control lights, locks, cameras, thermostat, and your alarm, all from your phone or laptop. Smart, safe, secure. Tommy's Lock and Alarms. Google them.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Super discount store in Chalmette.
3235 Paris Road.
The lowest price allowed by Louisiana law on wine, alcohol, and beer.
Worth the drive from anywhere.
If you're throwing a party and need wine, alcohol, and cold beer, super discount store in Chalmette.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
I think tonight I'm going to go get such a large steak. It's going to be mounted to the side of my car and tip my car over. I'm fired up about that. By the way, I'm with this girl. She's like, why don't you have a floorboard on your car? I'm like, how would I stop the car? Anyway, she didn't like that. Ended up having to bring her home. Corey Johnson back at you. Yeah, you right. I like the Flintstones car tipping over with the big rack of ribs on the side. Hey, it is a Monday afternoon, 5 o'clock power hour coming your way. Yeah, you right. Got a good one lined up for you. If you missed the last hour, you missed a lot. LBJ, Lebron Joseph, longtime New Orleanian, with YLD, with QUE, radio guy, TV guy, anchor, news anchor at Channel 26, joining us on the program. We'll get him on again and talk a little politics with him. Speaking of politics, Wednesday, another edition of Hillier and Hennigan. Yeah, you right. Post midterms, right-leaning Quinn Hillier, left-leaning Ellis Hennigan. Thoughtful, reasonable conversation with two guys that disagree about 90% of the time. That's Wednesday. Hillier and Hennigan right here on the neutral ground. Tomorrow, New Orleans District Attorney Jason Williams will join us on the program. Jason Williams will join us on the program. Hey, I do have a $50 Woodhouse Day Spa gift certificate for you. 50 big bucks at the Woodhouse Day Spa. Little trivia question. I was talking about Ronnie Lamarck from Araby Park. I'm doing a Lamarck commercial. The show's brought to you by Lamarck Ford and now Lamarck Crescent City Ford in Elmwood, Jefferson Highway. That Crescent City Ford, Lamarck Crescent City Ford, Jefferson Highway, right before Hickory, the corner of Jefferson Highway at Horde, right by Power. I guess Crescent City Ford, your truck specialist, has been there about 15 years in that new facility. Where was the original Crescent City Ford facility? Where was the original Crescent City Ford, the truck specialist? It was on Jefferson Highway, but where on Jefferson Highway? Give me the answer to that. I got 50 big bucks for you from the Woodhouse Day Spa. Guys, girls, everybody wants to go to the Woodhouse. 4 area locations. The flagship, Canal Street at Carrollton in Mid-City. They're on the North Shore, I-10 at Gauze and Slidell. They're in Metairie near North Kenner, Transcontinental at West Esplanade. They're in Baton Rouge by the Mall of Louisiana. And because of, delays with construction and supply chain and all that, a 5th Woodhouse expected to open in the next month or so, being pushed back slightly to probably early January, February of 2023. That's right. A 5th Woodhouse coming online in Mandeville, a 2nd North Shore location, Trey Yen Country. Yeah, you right. Rouse's Markets phone lines, if you'd like to participate, listening on radio, watching on TV. Maybe you're checking us out on YouTube. 504-766 9480. Rouse's Markets phone lines to participate in the program, 766-9480. Where was the original Crescent City Ford on Jefferson Highway? The one Ronnie Lamarck from Albury Park recently purchased. It's Lamarck Crescent City Ford, Jefferson Highway in Elmwood. Where was it originally located? Give me the answer to that. 50 big bucks to the Woodhouse Day spot is yours. Boy, it took a long time. I think they've had a soft opening. I think tomorrow is the official opening. Habana Outpost on a key corner in New Orleans. Esplanade at Rampart, which has been out of business, no tax dollars being generated, basically blight, and I'm not exaggerating or kidding, for 40 plus years. I remember when the station was an Esso when I was a child. And I remember Esso changed to Exxon, and they changed all their signage. I remember they changed the signage. Esso to Exxon was like 1973, 1974 when I was a tot. A few years later, that gas station shut down, never to reopen again as any business. So it's been shut down for 40 years. About a decade ago, this guy, Sean Meenan, who has Habana Outpost, Habana Cafe, a few locations, I think Brooklyn, California, maybe like Dubai. Very successful entrepreneur, worth tens of millions of dollars. I think he's started Etsy or was one of the key guys in that. So he's just been very successful. Former Golden Gloves guy, doesn't give up. A decade ago, bought that property, bought a house on Esplanade. His kid goes to school in New Orleans, moved down here. A decade ago, wanted to open Habana Outpost. Now, you can go on Esplanade, and these idiots probably still have the signs up. These selfish New Orleanians that think we're trying to preserve New Orleans. We're for what's good. Snobby elitists with too much money, too much time on their hands, maybe a law degree or two in the group. These selfish New Orleanians that are right behind the Habana Outpost on Esplanade. You can see their signs. It's ironic. Their houses are worth a few million bucks. They get assessed for hundreds of thousands of dollars. I hope the assessor, Errol Williams, reassesses those people's houses for the correct amount of money. But they've got the no Habana Outpost, the red circle with the line through it. They've been fighting this for years, just erroneous lawsuits, any speed bump, any hurdle, hoping that time would drive Sean Meenan away and the blight could continue because they like it how it is. They don't want a business there. They don't want it lit up. They don't want people there. They live behind it. They wanted peace and quiet. You live in the French Quarter in Esplanade. It's like people complaining that live by the airport that planes are flying over. Man, the airport wants to bring in more flights. We don't want that. I live by the runway. You maybe should live somewhere else. You live on Esplanade and Rampart in the Quarter. You're trying to stifle business. A handful of clowns, when I talk about the needs of the few outweighing the needs of the many, a handful of clowns with the wherewithal to, lube up the right politicians, to bog down the process, to drive this guy away. But Sean Meenan, literally a Golden Gloves champ, a champion, a fighter, literally and figuratively, beat these losers. And this place is bright, new, lit up. Yeah, I shouldn't say this because it's not right. You shouldn't go behind the houses of Habana Outpost at 11:30 at night and lay on your horn. Although I might do it. No, those people are jerks. They're selfish. It's like that condo tower. I'll never forget. It's still got a sign up for construction. It's like Calliope, and like Chapatulas, right by the Pontchartrain Expressway. I'm like, someone's investing in this lot and is going to build a condo tower here? That's incredible. And then these two jerks that lived in that Lengsfeld loft building. One guy, Herman, I forget the other jerk's name. Herman's the old lawyer. The other guy's the young lawyer. They just sued and stifled that tower about 3 or 4 times. It went bankrupt. Then the eventual owners of the property bought out their condos for like twice the value. And those guys think they're smart and crafty. It's like, no, for selfish reasons, you bought a condo. There was a lot next door. It's inevitable that it's going to be developed. And because you're a crafty, cheesy scumbag lawyer who's smart enough to know the law, you bog down the process, costs New Orleans millions of dollars in tax revenue, construction jobs, permanent jobs, all of that, a new residence downtown. This is like over a decade. No, these two jerks think they're creative lawyers. Their friends do. They're people that stifle New Orleans. The needs of the few outweighing the needs of the many. Selfish people that are just worried about their own life, aren't civic-minded, claim to be. No, these jerks in these houses on Esplanade, no Habana Outpost, shame on them. Don't pal up with them. Point the finger at them. When you go by Habana Outpost, it's on Rampart and Esplanade. That old abandoned gas station is now a thriving business starting tomorrow. Yeah, go frequent that place and give a little, criticism to anybody who's out there that's against it, those houses behind it. They probably still have the signs up. No Habana Outposts. No, sinful. It's our biggest problem with these jerks like that and our politicians. The needs of the few, that Hilario syndrome, Edwin Edwards, Bill Jefferson, the needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many. Us. Speaking of many people over 50 plus years. Are you kidding me? Helm paint and decorating? How many of us have used helm paint and decorating to do that painting project right? Do it once, do it right. When you got to paint in Metro New Orleans, you know where to go. Helm paint and decorating. Corey Johnson with you.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years. Serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Super discount store in Chalmette.
3235 Paris Road.
The lowest price allowed by Louisiana law on wine, alcohol, and beer.
Worth the drive from anywhere.
If you're throwing a party and need wine, alcohol, and cold beer, super discount store in Chalmette.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamarck team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamarck Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
For over 30 years, one of the premier security companies in New Orleans and South Louisiana has been Tommy's Lock and Alarms. And right now, Tommy's Lock and Alarms is hiring. Come and work for one of the best security companies in the region with great pay, great benefits, and a take-home vehicle. Tommy's Lock and Alarms is hiring, and they're looking for you. To apply for one of these coveted positions, go online to tommyslockandalarms.com. Tommy's Lock and Alarms. Come to Fausto's Italian Bistro. Age-old Italian recipes like the calamari fritti or spaghetti and meatballs. Lunch Monday to Friday, dinner Monday to Saturday. 530 Vets, a block before Dorignax. Fausto's Italian Bistro.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson.
I bet his poop smells like sandalwood.
Corey Johnson.
He's absolutely magnificent.
Got to keep this up to 6. Wow. Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday afternoon. Yeah, you right. Hey, tomorrow, District Attorney Jason Williams joins us on the program. On Wednesday, another edition of Hillier and Hennigan post-midterm. Speaking of politics, Senator John Kennedy, fresh off of a dominating win in that U.S. Senate race, 60-something% of the vote, he's publicly said he's thinking about running for governor. Quote, giving serious consideration to entering the governor's race. I'll be announcing my decision soon. The Republican Party just endorsed Jeff Landry. I was like, you might have Kennedy, Bill Cassidy, Billy Nungesser, a lot of Republicans that are very viable entering the race. No, the fix was in, you know. The fix was in on this one. I'm talking about the Republican Party. Jeff Landry getting that endorsement, a little premature. What's the rush? What's the rush? A tragic day again in Charlottesville, Virginia. Little Charlottesville. 3 UVA football players killed in a shooting incident. 2 injured. Just a senseless incident, senseless violence. A former player in custody. Just a sad story. Real sad story. Unbelievable, to be honest with you. Hey, I was mentioning the Habana Outpost finally opening. Thank goodness for this Sean Meenan guy who just had the tenacity and the will. Anyone else would have thrown in the towel, and that's exactly what these well-to-do New Orleanians with way too much time on their hand, way too much money, a law degree thrown in there or two. That's what they weren't counting on. And these folks act like they're civic-minded, like they care about New Orleans. They know what's best. They just didn't want a business on the corner of Esplanade and Rampart. I mean, my God, there are really 2 entrances to the French Quarter. There's the Esplanade Rampart corner, and there's the Rampart Canal Street corner because, you know, Canal Street at the river, you're at the river. Esplanade at the river, you're at the river. You can't come from that side. You can't come from the south side. You only enter the quarter really from the north or east or west side. Those main corners of the French Quarter are both totally, I mean, they've been neglected and abandoned for years. One was the old Woolworths that became the Hard Rock Hotel site. The Hard Rock Hotel collapse, a cleared lot, nothing going on there. No, hey, the city don't want you to be, let's get with the developer, the Hard Rock folks, and get this going again. No one even knows where to start that. It's like Six Flags, you know, no clue. So that entranceway to the French Quarter is a cleared lot. I guess that's better than a blighted building, but not by much. I mean, folks from out of town, tourists go, my God, this is in the French Quarter. This is the entrance, the main corner, Canal Street and Rampart, the big corner. And it's a cleared lot, nothing there. Not even believable. And then the other main entrance corner, Esplanade at Rampart, an abandoned, blighted gas station only in New Orleans for 40 plus years, my entire lifetime. This Sean Meenan guy a decade ago proposed the Habana Outpost after purchasing the building, and these selfish, worthless people behind him claiming to be New Orleanian civic-minded when they just didn't want a business there. They liked things on Esplanade like they were. They're complaining enough about Buffas or Port of Call. They definitely don't want something that's going to be people there and then just making up stuff and lawsuits and just bogging down the works. The mayor had the nerve to something on Twitter celebrating the opening like she had something to do with it. It's like, Mayor, you've been the mayor for a full term, 4 years, and now you're into your second term, like a year in almost. This guy's been trying for a decade plus, so half the time him trying was on your clock. So don't take credit for something that you want to take credit. 3 months into your first term, you solved the problem for the guy. Now I'm going to find out some names, get with the proper authorities to make sure I can spout out these loser New Orleanians names. And I'm going to spit the names out on the air because they deserve to be mentioned. They deserve to be called out by me. And then they can go get some erroneous lawsuits against me, and I'll get a lawyer or lawyers, plural, that are better than their lawyers, and that'll work for free because they'll see the injustice and want to bail me out. So bring it on. Now I'm going to find out their names, and I will spout them off on the air. I used to know the names because I Googled the houses. I went to the New Orleans Assessor's website. You can do the same. Wrote down some addresses, the houses, the addresses with the red circle, no Habana Outpost. And these folks are getting assessed houses worth $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. The houses are worth like $2.5 million. They're getting assessed for like 20-30% of their value at best. Even after, the assessor, went out and they changed all these assessments, which still are mostly incorrect and lowball figures in New Orleans. It's ridiculous. In Texas and Florida, no income tax. You want to know where they make it up? People that own houses. You pay the property tax on your house. No homestead exemption. You can buy a house. You can pay taxes on the house every year. It's pretty simple. That's how most places work. It's, supporting you getting in and out of your house, the roads, the schools, the fire department, police infrastructure, all that. Anyway, Habana Outpost. You want to hear the funny thing? I'm not I don't like Indian food and I don't like Mexican food. And everybody's like, dude, Indian food's some of the best food anywhere. I know. I just don't like it. Corey don't like curry. Or as some folks in New Orleans call me curry. Curry don't like curry. And I'm not into Mexican food, which is sad because there's a lot of Latinas I'm in love with, and I'm going to have to eat mommy and grandma's food. You're going to have to steer me in the right direction. Anyway, but I'll probably go to Habana Outpost. I'll find something on the menu, some pork or something, and I'm going to definitely throw some of my money towards Sean Meenan, who doesn't need any of my money. But I want his restaurant to be viable and for it to work. And from everyone I talk to, the one in Brooklyn, the one in California, and these little other ones that he's developed as well in those markets, little sub-restaurants, everybody tells me really high quality, authentic. The guy knows what he's doing. So no, if you like Mexican, Latin food, Cuban food, I recommend Habana Outpost, which I believe opens tomorrow on the corner of Esplanade and Rampart. 10 years in the making, 40 years that's been a blighted property, and a bunch of losers, that's the only way I can describe them, selfish losers in the neighborhood have been using their wherewithal, their money, their law degrees to bog this thing down because they'd prefer nothing there. They don't want the business there. They're not looking at it like, man, I live in the quarter. It's for the city. It's for, the quarter is for New Orleans, Metairie, the North Shore. It's Metro New Orleans. It's our pearl. Let's maximize it. I'm not going to be selfish. Someone bought that gas station and the house behind it. They're going to convert them both into a restaurant, outdoor dining, and boy, lit up and bright, and going to be a lot of people, probably lower the crime rate there, on and on and on and on. And you got these selfish John Hilario, Edwin Edwards mentality, folks, the Bill Jefferson mentality. Needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many. Just selfish. Not worried about you, me, the civic-minded thing. No, it's sinful behavior. Screw those people, huh? Hey, Latrim, the global manufacturing giant, a culture of innovation at Latrim. All they do is grow and all they do is hire. Latrim.com for a full listing of positions available. Latrim.com. East Bankers, West Bankers, Latrim's got you covered at their Elmwood facility. North Shore folks, Latrim's got you covered at their Hammond facility. For a full listing of positions available, and it's not 2 or 3 job openings. It's dozens and dozens and dozens of jobs. Latrim.com, Latrim spelled Laitram, Latrim.com. I was mentioning Ronnie Lamarck and Lamarck Crescent City Ford on Jefferson Highway in Elmwood. I combined Highway and Elmwood together. I pulled the Buddy D. Stephen Perry, Governor Mike Foster's Steve of Chaff. I went dyslexic on the whole sentence. I took the first couple of letters from the first word in the sentence, took the first couple of letters from the last word in the sentence, and I flipped them around. Steve of Chaff, not Chief of Staff. Hey, speaking of Buddy D, let's go down to the Saints training facility on David Drive. Kenny Wilkerson joins us live. Kenny, what's going on? Buddy, it's amazing. Coach Moore had a heart attack. There is an Acadian ambulance helicopter literally on the field. Hang on, Kenny. Chuck Sipple from the Gold Sheet calling in. The Detroit-Cleveland spread went from 4.5 to 5, and he's telling us Seattle at the Giants went from 7 to 6.5. Holy smokes. Thank you, Buddy D. I love Buddy D. I love working with Buddy. He was the great barometer and powerful. Huge ratings, huge audience, lots of advertising sold, literally annually, like millions, $1 million or $2 million in advertising sold on Buddy D alone. He was earning his salary. Now, I'd go in these meetings. It was hysterical. I'll never forget this one. We're at a big round table. The bosses are at the front. I'm at the very end, like right next to the bosses. And I can see on the yellow pad of paper something about the voodoo. The station I work for had the rights to the Saints and the rights to the voodoo, LSU and the voodoo. But they didn't have the rights to the then Hornets. So the meeting was about having Buddy and me and Kenny, anyone doing sports talk, to put the Voodoo, the Arena League team, ahead of the NBA team. So they got about 6-8 people in this room, even like a couple of salespeople that had no business being in this room. And they're asking them about this programming question. And everyone's smart enough to see what the angle is. So most folks are going along with it. Buddy D's just sort of zoned out, staring at like a gold sheet or something. And I'm, they're asking, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And finally get to Buddy. He's like, you want to push this Arena League ahead of the NBA? What are you, crazy? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And his buddy's not thinking about the angle, not thinking about the agenda, doesn't care what the bosses think, what they're pushing, isn't even thinking about that. I almost burst out laughing. I see the boss just scratch out the idea on the pad. They don't even ask me. Like after Buddy, I'm next. I'm the last one. They don't even ask me about it. I'm just like, great. Don't ask me. I'm with Buddy on that one. Hype the Arena League voodoo over the NBA team because we don't have the rights. Is that what you're pushing? That's the angle? Wow. I don't know what was worse, that or once a year, the sales staff, which was like 15 people selling, they'd all come walking in carrying like 40 gambits. They'd go raid the gambit rack from different stores. And then they'd sit there and fill out like best radio personality. It would be, you know, the FM disc jockey or talk show host from the station they were working at. The sales staff would do that. That would be the project. Don't go sell this morning. Fill out the Gambit best of. So Gambit figures this out after a few years, like not necessarily this scenario, but people just putting the thing they like in there. So Gambit made you fill out 50% of the questionnaire for it to be valid. So you'd have to, it just weakened the questionnaire. People are answering questions they don't even have an answer for. They don't even know. They'd have to go Google it or something. So it lessens the poll. It makes it even weaker. So what does this, the sales staff, put all our advertisers and clients in those best of categories. Told them which ones to fill it out, where they go, who's 1, 2, or 3, all of this. Just insane. Just insane. I'm like, really? Already kind of the legacy station in town, get ratings by default. There's really no competition, and you've got to go cheat on the best of gimmick to try to win that. You're going to get the sales staff to, each one's got to fill out 40 or 50 of these gambits. I mean, think about that. It's about 15 sales staff. They're filling out 40 or 50 gambits. I mean, that's about 700-800 of them. I think there's only maybe 30,000 gambits they produce every week. A bunch of them don't get taken. And this is back then. So I'm like, God, you manipulated this poll by like a third or something, 25%. I'm like, just embarrassing. Never figure that kind of stuff out. Sales, changing the talk format and having salespeople plant calls. Have salespeople plant calls. I'm listening to the station. I'm like, that's Robert, the sales guy. That's Frank, the sales guy. That's Jimmy, the sales guy. That's Martha, the salesperson. What? Really? Crazy world radio we live in. Now I was mentioning it to LBJ. I've been the guy walking out of a radio station with the cardboard box, fired, let go, change of format. And I've been the guy coming in with the new job and literally coming out of the elevator, and there's a dude walking with the cardboard box with all his stuff from his desk. I'm like, yikes, I'm replacing him. Not a good feeling either way. Hey, why aren't you at Katie's right now? Why are you listening to this, watching this show? You should be at Katie's. You can check out the program at Katie's. They put it on TV. They might even, put it on radio if you ask them. As New Orleans as it gets, Katie's in Mid-City. It truly is the quintessential New Orleans neighborhood with a bunch of yatty characters in there every single day. And not only lunch and dinner, like throughout the day. Sitting at the bar, lots of stories, just hysterical. A true taste of New Orleans, literally and figuratively. More is better. More of the good things. Why aren't you at Katie's right now in Mid-City?
The Woodhouse Day Spa, the premier day spa experience, is now more convenient than ever. Now open, the Woodhouse Day Spa, Metairie location, West Esplanade at Transcontinental. Metairie & Kenner's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
If you are a loved one or suffering from Parkinson's disease, listen to Springfield Wellness Center's founder, Paula Norris-Metier.
People started coming to us and asking for help for things other than addiction. We have a Parkinson's patient here. He comes in once a month and gets his little booster because that's what you have to do. In 2 hours after he started, his tremors in his hands stopped. So he said, Paula, your major marketing challenge is that it's too good to be true. But it's true. It truly is true. We can't say that all of these things have a cure, but these things happen and they're real.
Call Springfield Wellness Center, 504-291-4000.
Just call us. That's all. And we'll be waiting for you.
Make the call. 504-291-4000. 291-4000. Springfield Wellness Center. SpringfieldWellnessCenter.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
At Home Paint and Decorating, our paints are in it for the long haul. In fact, our top Benjamin exterior paints come with a lifetime warranty. Not 25 years, not 50 years, we mean forever. You heard right. At Helm Paint, our top exterior paints have a lifetime warranty against chipping, peeling, and flaking. They also are mildew resistant. Imagine painting your home one time and being done with it. Visit any one of our locations today and make that once-in-a-lifetime purchase. Paint that has a lifetime warranty. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore. Let us steer you in the right direction.
When you think of Fury's restaurant in Metairie, you think about the freshest local seafood anywhere. Shrimp, oysters, speckled trout, flounder, snapper, soft shells, crawfish. Fury's restaurant in Metairie.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
If you love Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City, you're going to love Bienvenue in Harahan. The same folks bringing a little of that New Orleans flavor to Hickory Avenue. If you love Katie's, come to Bienvenue on Hickory Avenue in Harahan. For home surveillance, it's Tommy's Lock and Alarms. With high-definition night vision surveillance systems, letting you see what's going on. Home surveillance that's smart, safe, secure. Tommy's Lock and Alarms. Google them.
Super discount store in Chalmette.
3235 Paris Road.
The lowest price allowed by Louisiana law on wine, alcohol, and beer.
Worth the drive from anywhere.
If you're throwing a party and need wine, alcohol, and cold beer, super discount store in Chalmette.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson, where the grass hasn't been cut in weeks or months. There's a lot of trash and garbage on the neutral ground, maybe even a person or two taking a nap. And oh, someone didn't pick up the dog
Got a good buddy of mine, friend of mine. He's shedding a bunch of weight, working out. He's got the long hair going. He's a big old dude. He can pull it off. And I told him the other day, I texted him after seeing him. I said, dude, you look great. The weight loss is incredible. The long hair might work as a chick magnet. He's my buddy, you know? And I said, but the glasses have to go. Looked like you went to Pearl Vision and got 2 pairs of glasses for $79. I'm a dude. If I'm noticing it, the glasses have to go. I told him to go to Art and Eyes on Magazine, and I wasn't kidding. He knows the place. He's going to the place. I said, first off, there's going to be Paul in there and like 3 or 4 women. And the women are all very, very good at how the glasses fit your head, your shape, all of that. You get multiple people looking. I like those. I don't like those, giving their input. You get one of the staff members to help you. They'll have a little tray. There's dozens and dozens and dozens of super high-end, great designers, world-class designers, quality frames you'll find nowhere else. I'm telling you, you go to Art and Eyes on Magazine and these places in the mall, these, franchise locations all around the country, you're going to be like, it's junk. It's garbage. Chinese-made trinkets disguised, impersonating real eyewear. Go to Art and Eyes on Magazine. You'll probably like about 8 or 10 pairs like me. Then you narrow them down and you pick a pair of glasses. They'll be the nicest glasses you ever own, finest quality, price points for everyone. No, it's just the best eyewear store I've ever been in my life. And I used to do the same thing as you, get a new prescription, go to the mall, get the same old garbage all the time, all that Luxottica stuff. They're trinkets. High quality eyewear like these, Art and Eyes on Magazine. Corey Johnson with you on a Monday, a Martel Monday. Brett Martel joins us each and every week. Brett Martel's been with the Associated Press for 25 years. How you doing, Brett?
Doing well, Corey. How are you?
Doing well, man. Yeah, not too many people. Had LBJ, Lebron Joseph on last hour. We were talking about radio people like Uptown Angela, A.D. Barry, Wild Wayne. Wild Wayne and Uptown Angela have been on WQUE, A.D. Barry on WYLD for 30 plus years straight. 30 plus years. Most of them in the same shift. Just unheard of. 25 years, Brett, at the AP. I think for our parents and our grandparents, one place, one job, that kind of worked. But today's era, people are hopping all over the places. Companies are merging, downsizing, going out of business, bankruptcy. It's pretty impressive, 25 plus years. Plus, I guess you're working for a company that's been around over 150. That helps too.
Yeah, I've been with them for 26 years. And of course, the AP dates back to 1846. So we're looking at
170 years, 175 years.
Yeah, something like that.
180 almost. Yeah.
Although one could also say that it takes a particular lack of ambition to have the same job for a quarter century.
Well, and then if someone asks you your resume, they'd be like, pretty ambitious cat, that Brett Martel. Tell us where you've been thanks to the AP and the reporting that you've done over the last 25 years.
Oh, well, I have been on several international assignments. I started out in news. I was in news for the first 10 years, but I've been to the Olympics in Athens, Greece, and Turin, Italy, and World Cups in Germany and Brazil and Russia.
That's pretty awesome. Those 5 things right there.
Yeah, a couple Super Bowls.
I've got that. Super Bowl's Final Four. That's nothing compared to what you were just talking about. That's child's play. Anybody can go to a Super Bowl or a Final Four. World Cup, Olympics, foreign countries. I don't know.
I flew in a Black Hawk helicopter with General Honore right into Cameron as soon as Hurricane Rita.
Yeah, Brett, you're watering it down. I flew in helicopters. I traded my car with some LA helicopter guys and flew around. And I jumped out of a plane, paratrooping, been on the roof of the dome. I like the 5 places you said. Turin, Italy, Russia, Rio. I mean, geez and Pete's awesome. Incredible.
Yeah.
Anyway. The only thing I missed, Brett, it was right before my time. I wasn't high enough on the totem pole. I just missed it. Probably like a year later, they would have sent me. The Saints played in Tokyo about 30 years ago.
I remember that.
And I didn't get to go. I would have liked to have gone to Tokyo. That would have been a lifetime trip going to Japan.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I'd like to go one day as well.
Yep. Brett, you want to start with good or bad? Well, let's do this. Where have you been today?
I was on Airline Drive this afternoon for Dennis Allen.
What did he have to say?
Well, he wasn't ready to confirm a change at starting quarterback, but he seemed to foreshadow one.
I mean, I guess that can like spark something maybe, but I don't really see the point in the sense that I still don't think that's the problem. I mean, there were people on that offensive line I've never even heard of. Seriously. I don't cover the team like you do, but there were players on the field I'm like, never heard of that guy.
Right. They are beat up front, and the Saints have an identity as a running team, and they ran the ball well with Kaare a couple weeks ago. But the last 3 weeks ago, say, against the Raiders. But the last 2 weeks, they have run the ball for like a grand total of 60-something yards combined, and it's been pretty ugly. Maybe 70. Something like that. But it's when you can't run the ball, it puts a lot of pressure on the quarterback. And when you can't pass block and can't run the ball, it puts even more pressure on the quarterback.
Yep.
So no, it can be tough. But one thing Allen said today was that when he looked at reviewed the video of the game yesterday, he mentioned, without really being asked specifically about it, that there were some missed opportunities by the offense. And that to me is indicative of the fact that he felt like the person primarily making the decision on the field for the offense didn't make all the best decisions that he could have made.
Maybe the change of quarterback, more mobile, a little more athletic, maybe that'll help. We'll see. The Saints were 2-5, Brett, 3 weeks ago. I said the next 3 weeks pretty much, sum up the season. Raiders, the Ravens were 3-3 3 weeks ago. So 4 weeks ago. Yeah. So they were 500. Pittsburgh and Raiders losing records. Saints had to go at worst 2-1, ideally 3-0 to get to 5-5, but at worst 2-1, and then you're at least 4-6. 3-7, season's done. You'd have to run the table.
Well, you don't have to run the table when you're 2 games out with 7 games left. However, it does appear that Tampa Bay is playing better and the Saints are not.
Yep.
And so if the team 2 games ahead of you is playing better and you are not, then 2 games can be a lot to make up in 7 games time, except that the Saints do play them again.
Yep.
So there's one chance you have directly. So we'll see how it goes, but they
6-1
really up against it now.
Yeah. I mean, 5-2 ain't cutting it. It's 6-1, 7-0. And how can you even pretend that's going to happen? There's just
5-2. You know what though? I think 8-9 could theoretically win this division this year.
I know it is. It is crazy division. You're right.
5-2 might get you in, but again, it would be like those seasons where. Remember all the seasons where the Saints technically were still alive? We 1 or 2 games left in the season, but they really had no business being in it.
Yep.
2012 would be one example.
Yeah, all those 7-9 seasons. Yep.
Yeah. So this feels like that.
Hey, Brett, the flip side, 80 miles upriver in Baton Rouge. They go to Arkansas, 11 a.m., a struggling Arkansas team, 35 degrees at kickoff. Lots of things that made it a trap game. Kelly spoke about the trap game thing. He refused to accept that, and obviously it worked. A very tight game. Arkansas played well. LSU, I don't know if they were looking ahead or what they were doing. A little flat. Jaden Daniels not having a good game. The offense overall not having a really good game. But LSU's defense is insanely potent. And number 40 is an All-American as a true freshman. I don't know how you can not have this kid as an All-American.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine if he had played more at the beginning of the year. But, I understand that when he's a true freshman, they weren't sure that he was ready at the beginning of the year. Certainly not for what they thought was his natural position, which was inside linebacker.
Yep.
So they've kind of actually sort of adjusted their whole scheme to fit him in, realizing that they have to get the best.
Have you ever seen anyone like Harold Perkins? Chad Jones was good as a freshman. Patrick Peterson, pretty good as a freshman. I think wide receiver or running back or quarterback. Maybe there's been a true freshman that's emerged in college. I've never seen a defensive player like this. Plus, Brett, it's like he's a junior. He plays like 3-4 different positions. They utilize him all over the field. He's a monster. He needs to be double teamed. He has to be accounted for every play. He's the honey badger at a different position.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, it's his speed that makes a big difference. He's got good instincts too, and he tackles well. But I think another thing that Kelly was talking about today, which I think is fair, is that one of the things that has made a player with Harold Perkins' skill set so good is the fact that the defensive front also is playing really well. Guys like Ojulari and so forth, and Wingo and everything, and they're making it. And so what he can do is he can kind of spy the quarterback, and as soon as the quarterback tries to escape the pocket, he comes flying in and runs him down.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And that QB is like a track star, and he runs him down from the side, forced fumble. I mean, 4 sacks. He could add another forced fumble. It was the correct call. I'm just a millisecond earlier. The arm's not moving forward. The guy's a monster. I've never seen a player play like this as a 18-year-old kid. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's really something to watch.
The freshman tight end, the 2 offensive tackles are freshmen. Brian Kelly is amazing, Brett. Everything he's Midas. It all turns to gold. LSU's in the SEC championship game. They beat Alabama and Saban. They win the SEC West. They're West Division champions, regardless of what happens against UAB and Texas A&M. And they're going to face Georgia in the Southeastern Conference game. Brian Kelly's first year. I mean, about a half dozen things this guy's done that fully exceed expectations.
Yeah, and now they very well could be overmatched by Georgia, but
they are.
They could end up in the Cotton Bowl or something. I mean, I'm sorry, the Sugar Bowl now.
Well, I mean, hopefully Georgia comes in and knows that they're the better team and overlooks it, which I think will be hard to do. Kirby Smart's very disciplined. But, yeah, Georgia is, where LSU wants to be in a year or two with recruiting. Right. And the way Kelly's getting it done this quick, it might be sooner than later. I'm just – if you're an LSU fan, you got to be fired up. If you're a realistic LSU fan and – besides the last few years, even the whole time, even with the national title and it's lightning in a bottle, Orgeron was so Mike Ditka-esque, just emotional. Go Tigers, and not a lot of substance, and kind of high schoolish almost, tell the truth Tuesday and all these little gimmicks, and then you get Brian Kelly in, and instead of that ready, fire, aim, Orgeron, Mike Ditka-esque mentality, you got a real sound taskmaster and just grounded and logical and tells it like it is. It's and has a plan and knows what he's doing. It seems to have it under control. It's refreshing as hell.
Well, I do. I know you probably won't like this. I want to give Orgeron just a little bit of credit, and that although it didn't come across in his personality, he tried to defer, and it worked in 2019 to the strength of his coordinators. The problem was that when he had to hire new ones after the national championship game, he really...
I mean, how many did he hire to get to that one and then lost him, and how many more? I mean, This guy's got more coordinators than years on the job as head coach.
Yeah, he inherited Aranda, and that was good for him.
Yep,
on the side.
Good for anyone.
And he did make a decision to kind of poach from the Saints, the passing game coordinator that they had, who's kind of flamed out in the NFL a little bit, although he's doing okay with Buffalo now, I think. But, after those guys left and he lost all those 14 draft picks, obviously it went in the toilet, and he wasn't really prepared to deal with it. And so, you had 2 of the worst seasons in 2 decades back to back. Yeah. So
hey, Brett, the Green Wave, it could be a rematch of last week's game. The Green Wave controls their destiny. They take care of Cincinnati in a couple of weeks, and they'll be playing Central Florida probably again.
Yeah, but in Orlando and not here,
Yep.
Unless Central Florida drops one, because they're not guaranteed to go undefeated either for their last 2 games. But yeah, Tulane has a big game on Thursday night at home, last home game, senior night. Hopefully the weather will be decent for them and they can get another good crowd in Yeoman Stadium. They'll be on national TV, ESPN. And they will be, in a huge game against SMU. If they can take that one, then it sets up another huge game at Cincinnati.
Yep.
Another really tough game.
Top 25 teams. Yep.
And that'll be for a berth into the title game, most likely, for the conference. And it's just a matter of whether, if UCF runs the table from here on, then if they and Tulane run the table, I think they'll be playing at UCF. Whereas if UCF drops one,
yep,
then Tulane can reclaim the home advantage of that game in the rematch. But obviously UCF has a tiebreaker right now.
There goes Blue Boy barking. You know what that means, Brett. Hey, where can we find your columns and articles?
APnews.com or AP News app on a smartphone. It's free. It gives news from all over the world.
Brett, you're the man. See you next Monday.
All right. Take care, Corey.
That's Brett Martel. Another Martel Monday. Corey Johnson with you. I'll see you tomorrow, Tuesday edition of the program, straight up 4 o'clock, 93.9 FM, New Orleans. Mañana.